Now we'll start this wonderful chapter again. Are you ready for consolidation today? So when you are going to prepare consolidated balance sheet, one adjustment which will appear and reappear is intercompany balances. Intercompany balances means there are two different entities. H Limited is one entity. S Limited is another entity. Okay, so now what will happen? They are transacting with each other. They are buying and selling goods and services from each other. So now what will happen? In the separate balance sheet of H Limited, S may appear as debtor, and in the separate balance sheet of S, H may appear as a creditor. Now you are preparing the group balance sheet. So group balance sheet is as if it is a single enterprise. So what you will do, all intercompany dues will be cancelled. Intercompany balances will be cancelled. So that you don't show yourself as a debtor and yourself as a creditor. So what are the possible intercompany dues item which you may have to eliminate? Creditor, debtor, bills payable, bills receivable, loan given by one company to another, dividend payable, dividend receivable, interest payable, interest receivable, debenture held by one company in another company, and any contingent liabilities between two companies will also be reduced. Contingent liability example, right? Bills receivable, discounted with the banker. Bills receivable discounted with the banker. Bills receivable discounted with banker. Now, what is this bills receivable? Have you heard in your small lifetime bills receivable? Bills receivable. Bills receivable discounted, you have heard? So see this example. H Limited has drawn a bill on S Limited. S Limited accepted the bill. H Limited got the bill discounted with bank or both adjustment or endorsed to creditors. So all of you have passed the entry for bill discounted with bank entry in the books of H. In separate books, bank account debit to bills receivable account, and if there is a discounting charges, that also you debit, discounting charges account debit, no problem. So we are not interested in discount charges account right now. So in our books, that is in the books of H, bills receivable will not appear. Bank account will appear. But in the books of S Limited, bills payable will appear. Till it is paid. Till it is paid or settled, bills payable will appear. Now in the books of H Limited, bills discounted with the bank is shown as a contingent liability in separate financial statement SFS. Bill discounted is shown as a separate, shown as a contingent liability, because the liability of H Limited will arise only if S Limited does not pay. But now we are going to prepare the group balance sheet. We are going to prepare. So in group balance sheet, S Limited balance sheet will contain bills payable. Will it contain bills payable? So that bills payable will appear as a liability now, because H plus S, total bills payable will appear in the balance sheet. So will I need to disclose contingent liability in the notes to account? The answer is no. This contingent liability note I will not write because it relates to group company only. Now in the balance sheet, actual bills payable will appear. Why actual bills payable will appear? We are going to consolidate the bills payable of S with H. So when actual liability is appearing in the balance sheet, why there is a need to disclose it as a contingent liability? So don't write. You will get marks for not writing. You'll get marks for if you write, then cut. Okay. So some example we'll take how to eliminate. So you'll be given balance sheet of H, balance sheet of S, and you have to write consolidated. So if suppose creditor is given in the balance sheet of H, amount payable to S 100. In the balance sheet of S, amount receivable from H 100. So 100 I will cancel. So creditor I will reduce, debtor I will reduce by 100 on each side. Okay. But sometimes the institute is going to say H has to pay to S 50 rupees. S has to receive from H 100 rupees. How is it possible? How is it possible? So it is possible because holding company H in this example must have sent one check to subsidiary company. Has sent check around say 31st March. Okay. So what entry this company has passed? S Limited account debit to bank account, being payment made through check. This party S has not yet received the check only till 5th of April. They have not passed the entry. They have not passed the entry. They should have passed this entry. Bank account debit to H, but they have not passed this entry. Why? They have not received the payment till 31st March. So how will they pass the entry? They will not pass. That is why there is a difference. That is why there is a difference. Another possibility, H Limited has returned the goods back to S Limited. H Limited has returned the goods. It has purchased the goods from S, then it returned. So they have passed the entry. Okay, S Limited account debit to purchase return. S Limited account debit to, but this party have not received the goods only. So they have not passed the entry so far that B Limited account, sales return account debit to H. They should have passed, but they have not passed. Why they have not passed? They have not received the goods. But now you are preparing a consolidated balance sheet. So if I deduct from liability side 50 and if I deduct from asset side 100, my balance sheet will tally. Option B, not tally. Not tally. So 50 rupees difference will come on the asset side. So that 50 rupees difference we will show as remittance in transit or goods in transit. So I will deduct from liability side 50, balance sheet liability side total will reduce by 50. I will deduct from asset side 100 and I will add back 50 remittance in transit on the asset side. So the net effect on both sides will be 50-50. Is it right? Now one similar adjustment will come for bills payable also. Sometime the two figures will match. Sometime two figures will match. Then deduct from both sides 100. But institute will not let you become CS so soon. They will try to extract money as much as they can. So they will give you this adjustment. Bills payable appearing in the balance sheet of H 100. Bills receivable appearing in the books of S Limited 50. And there is a note given in the adjustment somewhere below in your question when you will solve. Bills receivable of rupees 50 discounted with the bank. So how will it will affect your consolidated financial statement? From the asset side deduct 50 bills receivable from group company. And from the liability side from bills payable deduct 50 only. Deduct because this 100 is now payable to two parties. This 100 is payable to bank 50 and this S Limited 50. So this portion of this 100 I will cancel against this bills receivable. Remaining 50 is a liability for bank now. So that 50 will appear in balance sheet because that is the amount now payable to the bank. Is it right? So I have written that note. That is why you answered. I know. Yes, deduct 50 from BR, deduct 50 from BP, show 50 BP in the balance sheet. One more example. So these are the adjustment you will get quite often. Same adjustment, but instead of bills receivable discounted with the bank, they will give you bills receivable endorsed to creditor. Bills receivable. So first this 50 you cancel. Out of this 100 now, 50 is payable to an outside party and 50 is payable to group company. So this group company we will cancel. Group company, amount payable to group company means S Limited will get cancelled, and amount payable to creditor will appear as a liability. Do not adjust creditor. Do not. Just because the word creditor is given, 50 creditor gone. Yes or no? Whatever you'll find nearby common number, you'll deduct it. Don't do that. Just cancel 50-50 on both sides. Forget it. You don't have to adjust creditor here. Okay, one more chance. Here I need to do some rectification. I will tell you when. Investment in debenture of S Limited. I purchased investment of debenture in S Limited at cost 100 and debenture were issued also for 100. So cancel. It is again like asset and liability. It is again like asset and liability. So cancel 100 on each side. Liability cancelled 100. Asset side investment cancelled by 100. This is a group company only. 0. But institute may not give you this adjustment. They may give you this. Now here some rectification will be required. Investment in debenture of S Limited 100. So from the asset side I will remove 110. But the face value of the debenture is 100 only. Then why it is 110? Because they may have purchased it from the market, for example. And in market the rate was high. You have solved one debenture chapter also in your life. Yes or no? Yes. Had you not purchased some debenture at above face value and some debenture below face value? Yes. So what we will do? We'll cancel investment in debenture 110. We'll cancel debenture issued 100. And you just make a small correction because now the ICI in your module has given a different treatment. Adjust 10 in P&L account. This adjustment is not there. Then why you are enjoying? Adjust 10 in P&L account. Adjust 10 in P&L account. Adjust 10 in P&L account. You can insert somewhere there only. You can only take this one. This is easy. Sometimes debenture adjustment also comes. Have you done? No, sir. As usual, no. When will I hear yes? Still 1 more month to go. This chapter will take 10-15 days only. Otherwise you do homework. So adjust 10 in P&L account. Okay? 1 month. One more possibility. Investment in debenture is 90. Debenture issued is 100. So we'll cancel 90 and 100 from each side and adjust rupees 10 in P&L account. It will be treated as a gain or loss. Adjust rupees 10 in P&L account. Adjust rupees 10 in P&L account in both cases. So if, in short, if the debenture issued is different from cost of debenture, if debenture issued is different from cost of debenture, the difference adjust in profit and loss account. Earlier in the institute, earlier answers, they used to adjust it against goodwill or capital reserve. They used to adjust it against goodwill or, but now in your ICI study module, they have said adjust it against P&L account. Since they have changed their stand, I will also change my stand. There are three types of answers, right, wrong, ICI. So we'll go by ICAI version. Okay. Anybody any query on this wonderful question? Huh? These 2 points. Multiple investment cancel, not applicable to your intermediate syllabus. In intermediate, as per ICI syllabus given, only single subsidiary and single acquisition question will be asked. Okay. Next paragraph, intra-group transaction resulting into profit or loss. So what is this concept? Again, your institute is obsessed with this adjustment. What is obsessed? Huh? Continuously they are going to ask the same question. So H Limited purchased goods for 100 rupees, sold to S Limited for 150 rupees. Inventory, purchased for 100, sold for 150. So what is the challenge now? There is a 50 rupees profit earned by H, and assuming that the stock is unsold at the end of the year. The stock is unsold, which means you are going to add the subsidiaries inventory with holding company's inventory. That is consolidation. And now the inventory is appearing in the books of subsidiary at 150, which includes the profit made by holding company 50 rupees. So it means you have made profit from yourself, because now the two companies are presented as a single enterprise. So that means your own stock, which was purchased at 100, is appearing at 150 in the balance sheet. Not allowed. Vice versa also. What is vice versa? S Limited sold goods to H Limited. Same story. Selling price 150, cost price 100. Okay. Now the stock of H Limited includes that inventory purchased from S Limited, which includes a profit made by subsidiary company 50. So then the standard says, AS21 says, all the intra-group transactions and resulting unrealized profit should be eliminated in full. Our own inventory or our own fixed assets should not include profit made by one of the group companies. Understood? So it has to be eliminated. Same thing for unrealized loss also. Same thing for, however, in case of unrealized loss, concept of prudence will apply unless the cost cannot be recovered. Example of unrealized loss. I will change some exam numbers now. H Limited purchased goods for 100 rupees, sold it to subsidiary for 80 rupees. So there is a 20 rupees profit or loss of H. Stock is not sold. So what I'll do? I will reverse the loss. I will by adding back 20 rupees. However, if the market value of the inventory itself is 80 rupees, then we will not reverse the loss. Then we will not, because market value of the inventory itself has gone down. So concept of prudence. If the company sold it below cost because there is a decline in the market value, it's a genuine transaction, then do not reverse the loss. Then don't do any adjustment unless the cost cannot be recovered. But if the market price is more than 100 rupees and you sold it below 100 rupees, then you have to reverse the loss. Okay. Okay. So see the summary of the adjustment. It's printed in your book. Transaction flow. Downstream, upstream. So there are two types of problem you'll get. One is downstream, one is upstream. What is downstream? Parent sold to subsidiary. My first example, H2S. Upstream, subsidiary sold to parent company. Subsidiary sold to parent company. Is it right? In case of downstream, who has made the profit? When H sales to S, who has earned the profit? Holding. In downstream, holding. The question is same. I was checking awakeness, alertness. In upstream, who has earned the profit? Subsidiary. So when holding company earns the profit, entire profit goes to whom? Holding company only. But when subsidiary company earns the profit, there are two claimant, two stakeholders. Who are these two stakeholders? Minority and parent. Minority and parent. So that is why the adjustment is also suggested. If it is a downstream, make two adjustments. One is reduce from the profit of the parent company, unrealized profit, and second, reduce from the stock unrealized profit. Is it right? So one effect will be that P&L account debit to stock account. But if it is a downstream, if it is a upstream, who has got a share in the subsidiary profit? Holding and minority. Then in that case, my entry will be P&L account debit, minority interest account debit to stock. In both cases, from the stock, we are going to remove the 100% of the profit. So one adjustment is common, upstream or downstream. From stock, remove the 100% of the unrealized profit or loss. However, in case of upstream transaction, because subsidiary has earned the profit, and subsidiary profit is shared by two parties, it will be allocated between P&L account. P&L account means H Limited and minority interest in the ratio of their respective shareholding. Okay. To make this concept more understandable, we will solve one example. Right. This is that example. Oh, answer is not printed here. You will have to fill in the blanks. Situation 1, holding company sales to subsidiary company, downstream transaction. Holding company sales stock of rupees 100 to S Limited for rupees 120. The stock is unsold on the balance sheet date. How it will be adjusted in CFS? So in CFS, the transaction will be adjusted as follows. Unrealized profit of 20 will be eliminated from the cost of inventory in the balance sheet, and unrealized profit of 20 will be reduced from the profit of the holding company. Entire 20 will be adjusted against the profit of the holding company because holding company has earned the profit. It is included in the holding company's profit. Is it right? So entry, now write down sub-consolidated P&L account debit to stock account amount 2020. How can you write only 120? 220. 2020. Understood? One more example. Upstream. Subsidiary company sales to holding company. Holding company holds 75% share, which means minority holds 25% share. S Limited sales to H Limited stock of rupees 100 at rupees 140. So stock is unsold on the balance sheet date. Now what is the total unrealized profit on the stock? 40. How this 40 will be adjusted? So it is written also there for you. You don't have to write. Reduce the cost of inventory by 40. Reduce H Limited share in the unrealized profit from S Limited 40 into 75%. How much? 30. Minority share in unrealized profit 40 into 25%. 10. So the effect will be as follows. Consolidated profit and loss will reduce by 10. Minority interest. Stock 40. 14. Nalayak. Why you are getting irritated? You also irritate me every day. When? Every day. Okay, now last part. Then I will give you some question to solve. In the consolidated balance sheet summary of our discussion for last 2.5 days, share capital of only parent will appear. Reserve of parent will appear full, and parent share of post acquisition reserve or revenue profit of subsidiary will appear. Then if any capital reserve arises in consolidation process, when will capital reserve arise? When cost of acquisition is less than share in net asset of subsidiary on the date of acquisition. And then minority interest will appear as third item. Then fourth item, other liabilities will appear minus any intercompany owings. Intercompany owings means dues from each other will be deducted. Come to asset side. Asset side other than investment, you will add aggregate of all companies. Take total of holding and subsidiary in your book, read it properly. Then make adjustment for devaluation gain or loss. Yesterday you have done. Make adjustment for unrealized profit. Today you have done. Make adjustment for intercompany owing. And what about investment? Investment will appear only with respect to outside investment, not intergroup investment. Intergroup investment will cancel. Okay. Now you solve one 200 mark question. How many marks? 200. This is one balance sheet of A Limited as on 31/3/18. And then next question, balance sheet of B Limited as on 31st March 18. To keep the story simple, we have given very limited number of figures. Share capital 100, reserve 150, fixed asset 175. Investment in B 70, 60% is the stake and acquired on 31st March. Make it 18, 31st March 18. 18, this is 18. Here, written? What is written in your book? No, make it 18. B Limited balance sheet. Share capital, reserve, asset, total 100. Just do the consolidation. 100 or 150? 100? Only parent. Write 100, share capital 100. In this problem, do we have any post-acquisition profit? Why we don't have any post-acquisition profit? Balance sheet date is 31st March 18. Date of acquisition is also 31st March 18. Both are same date. So that means there is no post-acquisition profit. So I will not have to add post-acquisition profit of B in A. So only write down reserve 150. But it is written also there, only A Limited. Reserve only A 150 because there is no post-acquisition. In bracket, because there is no post-acquisition profit of B. In every problem don't write only A. Ratte bajo. Because in this column there is no post-acquisition profit, hence I am not writing. Then what about minority interest? So you will calculate minority interest on the date of acquisition. Minority interest is equal to minority percentage into net asset of subsidiary. What is minority percentage? 60% is holding, so 40% is minority. And what is the net asset of subsidiary today? 100. How did you reach that magic number 100? Is it printed in the notes or is it because you applied your own intelligence? But I think it is printed also. Yes. Otherwise you take this 50 plus 50 and multiply by 40%, or directly take this 100 and into 40%, doesn't matter, whichever is convenient to you. So what is the total of the liability side so far? 290. Is it 290? And what about the asset side? Goodwill. Goodwill will be, cost of acquisition is 75 and share in net asset is 60% of 100. 60. So what is the difference? Right, 15. And what about the fixed asset? Add the two companies. 275. See the magic. Tallied. Hello, tallied. That's good. This is how your balance sheet is appearing. That is consolidation. Done. Can we start the next chapter? Yes. This is simple. Okay. Now I will tell you the logic of this entire consolidation thing that is happening. We are given one balance sheet of holding company. This is the balance sheet of holding company given to you, A Limited. And then what I did, I passed one consolidated entry, consolidation entry. Which entry? So can you visualize what consolidation entry I have passed today? I took over the assets of B. How much was the asset of B? 100. So which means I must have passed this entry, sundry asset account debit 100. Is it right? Then I incorporated goodwill in my books of account. So I will debit goodwill account debit 15. This problem was simple, so I did it here only. Otherwise we'll make a separate working note. Then I included minority interest also in my balance sheet. So two minority interest was how much? 40. Because their 40 asset I have put in my books. I recorded 100 rupees asset in my book, but actually 40 belongs to you, others. So I created that also. So effectively 60 has come now in my net asset. 60 has come as net asset in my books because 40 I am showing it as a amount to minority interest. And then what I did, I cancelled the investment. I cancelled the investment, which is 75. This is the entry that we have passed. So the moment I pass this entry, this goodwill which we have debited has come here. This fixed asset which was already 175 plus the effect of this entries 100, 275 will come. Then one new account I created, minority interest 40, and the investment which was appearing there in our book 150 is credited, means that will not appear. So that investment goes out. Investment, and what comes in? Asset of 100, goodwill of 50 and minority interest of 40. You'll find that the net effect of these all three numbers is 75 only. So that is the logic of consolidation. Against your investment, you record the net asset of the subsidiary. Since you are not a 100% holder, you will also record the outsider stake in that net asset 40. In case your cost of acquisition is more than share in net asset, difference will be adjusted in goodwill or capital reserve, and that investment will not appear in the consolidation process. Have you written this entry somewhere or enjoying? AC. Enjoying AC? Both. Good. So what the holding company does, it calculates goodwill separately, it calculates minority interest and brings those in the books of account. That's it. An investment is removed. This they will not write in the ICI module. That you have to understand the logic. One more example. Yesterday already we solved 2. Today 3. Fourth now. Okay. Solve yourself. No. But this is easy. Balance sheet on 1/31/3/2015. HS share capital, P&L account, non-current liability, total asset, non-current asset, fixed asset, investment in S 80% now. And what is the DOA? 1414 at the start of the year. At the beginning of the year, shares were acquired. And then they have said balance in P&L account of S Limited was 60,000 rupees on 1414. This we will call pre-acquisition profit. But balance sheet figure contains P&L account of subsidiary as 1,50,000. So what is the post-acquisition profit of subsidiary? Can I say 90,000? Yes, 90,000. The difference between pre-acquisition profit and balance sheet figure is post-acquisition profit 90,000. And then you've been asked to prepare the CBS. So what you will do? First you write analysis of profit. First you write analysis, not analysis. Pre-acquisition profit is 60,000 and the closing figure of profit is 1,50,000. So what has happened in this period? What has happened in this period? There is a post-acquisition profit of 90,000. There is a post-acquisition profit of 90,000. Is it right? So what we will do? We will pass entry first on this date as usual, which we did in the previous problem, and then we will pass one more entry for our share in the post-acquisition profit of subsidiary, and minority share will be transferred to minority interest. Is it right? This is how the consolidation is done for the subsequent profit. Our share in our profit, minority share minority profit. Is it right? Now prepare this working note. Is it printed in your book? This format for preparing the pre and post acquisition working note? Okay. So write down. Oh, the figures are missing. That's good. That will keep you awake. Right here, P&L account pre-acquisition column 60,000, post-acquisition 90,000, and then H Limited 80%, 48,000, 72,000. Yes or no? Calculate. Minority interest 20%. Calculate. 12,000, 18,000. Okay. Any query on this bifurcation between holding and minority? Their respective ratio 80 and 20. Hai ji? Go to next working note. Please solve and give me what? Goodwill figure. So write there cost of acquisition in the outer column. How much is cost of acquisition? In the balance sheet asset side, can you locate 600 rupees written below? Then share in net asset on the date of acquisition. Share in share capital. Share in share capital. How much is share capital of the subsidiary? 6 lakh. 6 lakh into 80%. 4,80,000. I don't know the balance sheet of the opening date, so I will have to go by share in share capital and share in pre-acquisition method only. This time I can't apply asset minus liability route because we do not have opening balance sheet of the subsidiary. Is it right? But we know the share capital, assuming no change in share capital, and pre-acquisition reserve is given to us. So what is the share in pre-acquisition profit? 60,000 into 80%, 48,000. Already calculated also. So my total of the share in net asset is outer column 5,28,000. Just check, is it 5,28,000? If it is wrong, you are wrong. Goodwill 72,000. That was so easy. Is it right? Now you calculate minority interest or non-controlling interest also. Calculate a minority interest or non-controlling interest. You are not moving only, some of you. You are not giving me the answer. Even though I have written the calculation also. What is minority interest? First you calculate minority share in share capital on the date of acquisition. Is it 1,20,000? Then minority share in pre-acquisition profit is 12,000. Is it 12,000? Yes. So what was the minority interest on the date of acquisition? 1,32,000. As the subsidiary will earn more and more profit, the minority interest will also increase because their share in profit will also increase. Is it 18,000? Yes. So what is the total minority interest? We can cross check also. We can cross check on the screen. This is the balance sheet. Where is balance sheet? This is balance sheet. Suppose we don't have much time in the exam, shortcut. Share capital and P&L account. 7,50,000 or asset minus liability 7,50,000 into 20%. Minority share in net asset 1,50,000. Got the shortcut? Yes. Next time don't try. We'll follow this method only. Only in emergency. Okay. But that is a way to cross check. However, this cross check may not work if there are some adjustment in the profit figure of subsidiary given in the adjustments in the problem. Given in the adjustments in the problem, then it may not tally, because then first you have to do those adjustment, then multiply by minority percentage, it will tally, but directly it will not tally from the question. Like for example, revaluation, gain or loss and depreciation etc. is given. It will not work. Stock reserve is given. It will not work. Okay. If subsidiaries profit are changed in the adjustments, then it will not match. It will match after giving the effect of those adjustments. Is it right? That is why I warned you, don't try this method, because if the adjustments are given in the profit figure of subsidiary, then it will not match the way it was matching right now in this question. Now you pass one memorandum journal entry. Memorandum journal entry means what entry will you pass to incorporate the assets, liabilities, goodwill, minority interest, etc. Okay, Mohtarma, right? Net asset account debit. There are two ways you can write. Either you write all asset individually, all liabilities individually, or you can simply write the net asset. So what is the net asset? 7,50,000. Just to save your time. Otherwise you can write asset account debit. How much is asset account? 8,90,000. To liability 1,40,000. That is welcome. Then goodwill account debit, right? How much is goodwill account debit? 72,000. To investment in S Limited account 6 lakh. Cancel it. To investment in S Limited 6 lakh. Then to minority interest I will incorporate. Total 1,50,000. Wait. In this problem, since there is a post acquisition profit also, I will also credit the consolidated P&L account. Right. To consolidated P&L account 72,000. Now from where did you get this magic number 72,000? It is the 80% of post acquisition profit 90,000. Already calculated in one earlier working note. Is it right? See the logic again. Subsidiaries net asset on the date of acquisition was, hello, subsidiaries net asset on the date of acquisition was 6,60,000. Am I right? How did you know 6,60,000? 6 lakh share capital and pre-acquisition profit was 60. So how much is 6 lakh and 60,000? 6 lakh 60,000. And how much is the post-acquisition net asset? 7 lakh 50,000. Is it 7 lakh 50,000? So what is the increase in the net asset of the subsidiary? 90,000. So 90,000. So effect of that increase in net asset, listen to me. If you want to understand the logic, the effect of increase in that net asset of 90,000 has already come in this. Has already come in the first line. We don't know what is the opening net asset individual item. Closing we know. So this 7 lakh 50,000 includes the effect of that increase in 90,000. So second effect of that 90,000, 72 has gone here and 18 has gone in minority interest. Sir, where is 18 gone? You can check this answer. This 18 which you have written here is actually the share of the minority interest in the post-acquisition change in the net asset of the subsidiary company. So out of that 90 increase in net asset, 18 belongs to minority, so we have added here. 72 belongs to parent, which will be added in the consolidated profit and loss account of the parent. That is the reason for passing this entry. This is called memorandum journal entry. Such entries are not actually passed in the books of account. Why? Because subsidiary is one company, holding is one company. Only for the purpose of preparation of consolidated financial statement, out of the books, we are giving the effect of this entry. But there is no such ledger account like goodwill account or minority interest account. It is only a concept. It's only this kind of account does not appear in books of account. But it will be created only in the process of consolidation. Because these are two different entities. We do not maintain books of account for consolidation purpose. We maintain only separate books of account of parent company and we maintain separate books of account of subsidiary company. And this entry we pass to give the effect of consolidation in the parent's books of account. So hence memorandum. Hence all entries in this chapter I am going to pass is memorandum. Now what you do? Just incorporate the effect of this entry in the parent company's balance sheet. Means in parent company balance sheet, this will appear, asset and liabilities 8 lakh something, goodwill will appear, investment will disappear, minority interest will appear, and consolidated P&L account will increase by 72,000. Right? Bas, that's it. Once you have understood these two questions, this is the basic of consolidation. Then only some adjustment institute will give you, that is just to harass you, just to whatever you interpreted, or to test your knowledge of accounting. Okay, but those are just simple accounting adjustment. Those are nothing to do with consolidation right now. This is consolidation. That's it. So prepare the BS balance sheet, CBS. Will share capital change? Same. Will P&L account change? Yes. By how much? 72,000. Take P&L account of parent, add 72,000. Minority interest, working note number 2 or 3, 1,50,000. Non-current liability, add the two companies. Add the two companies. Is it 3 lakh? Total 17,22,000. Is the answer 17 lakh to 2,000? Asset side is simpler. Add the fixed asset of the two companies. Add the fixed asset of two companies. Why are you not adding? Is it 16,50,000? And goodwill, right? How much was goodwill? Look at that journal entry. Take total of the asset side. Hello, total. Is it tallied? It will tally if you give double effect properly. Now, we will go to question number next. In the book only solve. Afterwards we'll solve in notebook. First we'll do some basic problem, warm up exercise, okay? This is like MCOM exam in Pune University. Or sometime you can get a PhD also by preparing this much. However, such questions are not asked in the CA exams, okay? This is for those who are solving consolidation for the first time in their life. Now one more little advanced version. Share capital, P&L account, non-current liability, total asset, non-current asset, fixed asset, investment in S Limited 65%, acquired on 110, underline 14. And what is the date of balance sheet at the top? So there is a problem. Current year 6-month profit will be pre, 6 month will be post. Okay, keep that in mind. Balance in the P&L account on 1/4/14, again underline 1/4/14, is 2 lakh. That means opening balance of this year is 2 lakh. Closing balance in the balance sheet 5,50,000. So how much is the total profit for the year? This is 2 lakh here. This is 550. So what is the difference? 3 lakh? This you would divide by 2. So 1,75,000 is also to be added to pre-acquisition profit. So total pre-acquisition profit will be 3,75,000 and total post-acquisition profit will be 1,75,000. Okay. If you can do this much, you have won the case. Only have to find out how much is pre 3,75,000, post 1,75,000. Prepare CBS. So what I'll do, first I will prepare one working note, analysis of profit. Write down, write like this, profit and loss account balance on 1/4/14, only in pre-acquisition column write 2 lakh. Do you agree? This profit was already in existence before the shares were purchased, so this will go to pre-acquisition column. Then profit for the current year in bracket 3,50,000 in the ratio of 6:6, 1,75,000 and 1,75,000. Do you agree? Agree? Take total without calculator. Take total without calculator 3,75,000 and 1,75,000. Now take the calculator. Don't do stunt. Divide in the ratio of 65% and 35%. Anybody 65%? Quickly. 243,750. Oh, wonderful. And next column 113,750. Again wonderful. Last line MI 131,250. 61,250. Done. Now you tell me goodwill or capital reserve. One working note, I will give you the chance. Goodwill or capital reserve, 30 seconds. Quickly, start. Capital reserve? Huh? Is it capital reserve? Huh? How much? Is it 93750? Who got 93750 capital reserve right? Anybody? One. Yes, you, January, you got it right. First write down cost of acquisition 8 lakh. Cost of acquisition 8 lakh. Cost of acquisition 8 lakh. Share in net asset of subsidiary on the date of acquisition. Share in share capital 65% of 10 lakh. 6,50,000. 65% of 10 lakh. Your share in the share capital is 65% of 10 lakh. And your share in the pre-acquisition profit was already calculated right here. Refer working note. 243, 750. Is it there? 243, 750? See now, you'll find this figure in the previous working note. So total of 6,50,000 and 243, 750. In the outer column, 893,750. Compare. There is a capital reserve this time. 93, 750. Okay. So that you will understand capital reserve also. Now you pass one memorandum journal entry. Can you pass memorandum journal entry yourself? Yes or no? Memorandum journal entry. Write somewhere in the notebook. Memorandum. First few questions we will write memorandum journal entry for understanding purpose only. Once you understand this, that means most of the things you have understood, the reason. Then some accounting adjustment you have to solve according to question. So what I'll do, I will incorporate the net asset of subsidiary in my book. So what is the fixed asset of subsidiary? Fixed asset I will take over 20 lakh. To non-current liability I will incorporate 4,50,000. To capital reserve I will incorporate 93,750. Am I right? Capital reserve. To minority interest I will incorporate. Anybody who computed minority interest? Minority interest we have not computed or computed. Otherwise you can compute now. Take on your Chinese calculator. What is the share in share capital of minority interest? 3,50,000 plus pre-acquisition profit plus post-acquisition profit. So what is the total of minority interest? 542,500. For those who have not understood, one more chance. First you add 3,50,000 share capital. Then you add that pre-acquisition profit. How much was minority share in? 131. And then you add that post-acquisition profit. 61. Yes, so this is how this minority interest has come. Then you cancel the investment also. To investment. What is the book value of investment in S Limited? Yes, what is the book value? Is it 8 lakh? 8 lakh. Students are very silent today, even though it's an easy chapter. And then you will also write down two consolidated P&L account. How much is consolidated P&L account? How much is the share in post-acquisition profit? Post-acquisition profit. Share in post-acquisition profit 113. Is it there? Let me check, otherwise you will misguide me. Yes, you are right, 113,750. This figure. This figure. Now cross check. What should be the cross check? The total should match now. Because you are passing a journal entry. Just tell me honestly, is the total of the credit side also 20 lakh? Sure. Show me your calculator. Oh, that's right. Show me the check function whether you've written properly or not. That's right. Now just give the effect of this entry in the balance sheet of parent company. Yes or no? That means in the balance sheet of parent company, you just have to give the effect of this entry. That's it. Which means fixed asset will increase by 20 lakh. Current liability, non-current liability will increase by 4,50,000. Capital reserve will come in the calculation or in the balance sheet. Minority interest will come in balance sheet. Two new accounts will come. Investment will disappear. And consolidated P&L account will increase by 113,750. Have you done? Then prepare the balance sheet. Let me see who will get the balance sheet total right. Anybody who wants to try his luck? Try balance sheet yourself. Try balance sheet yourself. Is the balance sheet telling? Say yes. Yes. You? Where? Show me. From a distance only. So now I'm going to show you the balance sheet. Check. Is it telling? Is the total 42 lakh? Haji, first bench. Wrong. Everything. That's good. One more chance. Slowly, slowly, questions will become more and more difficult. Okay. So now the next question says, balance sheet on 31/3/15. Share capital, PL, preliminary expense. One more variable they have added. Preliminary expenses, doesn't matter. Non-current liability, total asset, non-current asset, fixed asset, investment in S Limited. 70% acquired on underline 1/12/14. Acquired on 1/12/14. Can you see 1/12/14? And what is the year ending date on the screen? 31st March 15. So what is the number of months in pre-acquisition period? Pre. I'm asking pre, you are saying 4. Pre is 8. 8 or 9? 8? What is December? 1st December. 1st December. Correct. And how many months are in post column? 4. Which 4? Which 4? Which 4? December, January, February, March. Okay. Understood? December, January, February, March. So first you prepare this working node 1. You will tell me. Everybody is copying. So this time I am going to show you the answer after 30 seconds. Complete the format first. Try. Then I am going to ask somebody to come here and read the answer. Not you. That fellow.
Yes, sir.
Is the first working note analysis of profit over? Who got it right? Check the answer now. Time over. This time this preliminary expenses is also going to be written in the pre-acquisition column. It's a negative reserve. It is a negative reserve. So write P&L account 1,45,000. Preliminary expenses assuming it was created in the previous year and brought forward to current year. Okay. So 40,000 is a negative reserve. That also you put it here. And profit for current year is how much? Do you agree 4,45,000? In the ratio of 8:4, 2:1, 2:1, half is 2.5. Whatever. Done? Take a pencil. Unless you are very sure. Is the answer 296,667? Yes. 148,333? Yes. Continue. Take total. Continue to take total. Haji. 4,01,667. Good. Second column. 148,333. Take total. Try. Now divide in the ratio of 70/30. 70/30. Round off the last digit. 281,167 and 1,20,500. Is right? 1,20,500. Say yes. Yes. Next column. Preliminary expense. What do you want? Why? Otherwise you first write it off, your profit will reduce and write 1,05,000. Okay. It is also a negative reserve. It is also a negative reserve. Or otherwise you can first write it off against P&L account, and then the balance of P&L account will become 1,05,000. So in any case you have to reduce it from 1,45,000. So either separately write down or make a working note one first. You want to make a separate working note for writing of preliminary expenditure? No. We don't have so much time. You have to prepare working note, then balance sheet. It takes time. What is the next working note? Goodwill. Anybody got the goodwill or capital reserve? How much is capital reserve? Last bench, middle student. There are two students in the middle. Any of the two. What is goodwill or capital reserve? No, answer. Answer in 6 digit. Only 4 digit. Maybe. I will ask Computer G. Computer G will give the answer. 1167. Computer G is always right. Is it 1167? 1167. Check the answer. First write COA, cost of acquisition, 9,80,000. Share in net asset of subsidiary. Share in share capital, how much? 7 lakh. Share in pre-acquisition profit. That is why we prepare the previous working note. 281, 167 is there. Say yes louder. And then your total in the outer column is 981, 167. Yes or no? And then goodwill or capital reserve. Goodwill or capital reserve. Capital reserve. How much? 1167. Wait, one more working note you prepare yourself. Minority interest. Minority interest. Some students are working hard. And some are hardly working. Hello, you. Any query? Then why you are not writing? Minority interest. Totally you have not taken. Haji? 4,65,000. I will ask Computer G. Yes, you are right. Share in share capital. Share in pre-acquisition profit. This gives me net asset belonging to minority interest on the date of acquisition. As and when the subsidiary's net asset will increase, minority share will also increase. For the post-acquisition change in net asset, which is 44,500. This last two figure you will get from the earlier working note. Are you getting? So what is the total? 4,65,000. Wait, stop. Who will pass memorandum journal entry? You will pass. Okay, I will pass. Memorandum journal entry. For understanding, in the exam not required. This memorandum journal entry is not required in the exam. So what is the fixed asset of that other company you are going to incorporate? 18,20,000. What is the non-current liability you are going to incorporate? 2 lakh. So this way you will incorporate the net asset. And then you will also incorporate capital reserve. As per your previous working note, how much was that? 1. You will also incorporate minority interest, 4,65,000. You will cancel the investment in subsidiary, 9,80,000. You will also increase your consolidated P&L account by post-acquisition profit share. 103? 833. Now cross check whether the total is matching or not. Is the total matching? Dear student, is the total matching? Yes. Yes. Now you give the effect of this entry. That's it. That is consolidation. Take opening balance sheet of parent given to you. Give the effect of this entry. Tally the balance sheet. Tallied 35 lakh. Both side. Or only asset side you have taken total because there was only one figure. Yes or no, Nalayak? Both side. Otherwise, some student what they do, they just add the fixed asset because there is only one item and they say this is the total. I want you to also do the liability side. But do not add preliminary expense of both company. Have I written preliminary expense in this journal entry? Only what I have written, that much effect you have to give. What is not written, if you add that also, your balance sheet will not tally. Am I right? So who has done balance sheet total? One, you, raise hand. Why are you so lazy? No, but it appears. Facts indicate otherwise. Now check the answer. Each figure is matching. Every figure is matching. Okay. Okay. After that, now we'll again have some charcha, gyan. Then we'll again solve few problems, okay? So three simple questions you have solved, 4 simple questions. These questions are only for understanding purpose. Balance sheet is telling now. Now next paragraph in your book, just check, is it elimination of unrealized profit on fixed asset? Yes. So one more adjustment which you will get sometimes is elimination of unrealized profit on fixed asset. Some minutes before you have seen elimination of unrealized profit on stock. One student was sleeping, so she has gone home. Elimination of unrealized profit on fixed asset. Some are sleeping outside the class, some are sleeping in the class. So it was better she sleeps at proper place only. So first we will understand the concept today. In the previous example, 2 minutes back, unrealized profit on stock we had seen. Downstream, upstream. Similarly, there can be transfer of fixed asset from subsidiary to holding or holding to subsidiary. Like for example, this is a fixed asset. Holding company is the owner. It is appearing in their books at 1 lakh. It sold to subsidiary company. Sold at 1,50,000. So who has earned a profit on this deal? H Limited has earned a profit downstream transaction. But in case of a fixed asset item, there is one more adjustment is required. Subsidiary company will purchase the fixed asset. For subsidiary company, what is the cost? 1,50,000. Cost to S Limited is 1,50,000. So they will provide depreciation on which figure? They will provide depreciation on rupees 1,50,000. They will provide depreciation on rupees 1,50,000 because for them 1,50,000 is the cost. But in the process, what will happen? Profit will also get depreciated. The profit portion will also get depreciated. For example, let us say they will write like this: 1,50,000 minus depreciation 15,000. So now the total is 1,35,000. If I divide this into two separate numbers, suppose it consists of two parts, 1,50,000, which means they have provided depreciation on cost portion also and profit portion also. Am I right? This total is matching. So which number I am going to eliminate from my consolidation process? 45,000. This is the profit which is included in the investment. Which is included in fixed asset. For the group, the fixed asset should be 90,000 rupees now, because 1 lakh minus 10% depreciation, 90,000. But it is appearing at 1,35,000 in the balance sheet. It is appearing at, so for the group, the asset should be worth 90,000 in the balance sheet, but it is appearing at 1,35,000, which means it now includes 45,000 rupees of unrealized profit. So how do I reach that magic number 45,000? By following this A, B, C, D, E, F steps I have written. First you will write gross amount of unrealized profit, which in our example is 50,000. Which in our example is this 50,000. Less depreciation already provided, which in our example will be this 5,000. Not the entire 15,000. This 15,000 is on the total cost of the asset. So 15 I am dividing into two parts. 10,000 on the cost portion, that is okay, and 5,000 on the profit portion. So that profit portion depreciation I will deduct. And therefore point number C, net unrealized profit included in the fixed asset is 45,000. This 45,000 I have to eliminate. Treatment. Point number D, treatment. Deduct unrealized profit rupees 45,000 from fixed asset in the balance sheet. So if I deduct 45,000, it will appear at 90,000 now. Same amount at which it would have appeared, 1 lakh minus 10%. And deduct it from the profit of the selling company. Who has sold in our example? H. So H had recorded the profit. So reduce 45,000 from the profit of the selling company. If it is an upstream transaction, then deduct it from the profit of B or subsidiary company limited. One calculation will be common, 45,000 rupees, which I did, and that will be deducted from fixed asset. Only second effect will change depending upon who is the seller. Holding company is the seller, reduce from holding company's profit. Subsidiary is the seller, reduce it from the profit of the subsidiary company, like we do in the case of inventory. Only difference here is, in case of inventory, the entire unrealized profit is eliminated. In case of fixed asset, unrealized profit minus depreciation provided is eliminated. To the extent depreciation has been provided, the profit has been realized. The profit has been realized, you can say that. Now one small example on this matter also. Write the answer in the book only. A Limited purchased a plant from B Limited on 30th September 2015 for rupees 24,000. B Limited made a profit of rupees 2,400. A Limited charged depreciation at 10% per annum. The year ending date is 30th June 2016. Two dates underlined. Date of sale 30th September 15. The year ending date 30th June 16. So gross amount of unrealized profit, how much you have written? 2,000? It's given. No calculation, given. Point number B, less depreciation already provided, 2,400 into 10% into 9 by 12. What is that 9 by 12? 9 months, September 30 to June 16. How much is that? 180. Therefore, net unrealized profit is 222. Now write down treatment. Deduct unrealized from the balance sheet from fixed asset and deduct it from the profit of selling company B Limited. Done. That's good. Understood? Partly or fully? Yes, comment partly or fully? Fully. Now, next, reporting date. What do you mean by reporting date? Means balance sheet date. Is it possible that reporting date of the holding and subsidiary are different? Is it possible that reporting date of holding and subsidiary are different? Possible. But the standard says the financial statement used in consolidation, the same reporting date should be used. Same reporting date means year ending date of parent and subsidiary should be the same. But sometime it is not feasible. Sometime it is not or practical. They may follow different reporting date. They may follow different reporting date. So in that case, they are saying in case of any difference between the reporting date, the subsidiary financials should end first and the period should not exceed 6 months. That is, the gap between subsidiary's year ending date and parent company year ending date should not be more than 6 months. And whose year ending date should come before the other? Subsidiary. For example, suppose the year ending date of parent company is 31st March 2020. So what is the maximum gap allowed? 6 months. So 30th September 2019 subsidiaries balance sheet. So subsidiary balance sheet should be either this date or any date after that date up to 31st March 2020. It should not be before this date. If it is before this date, then it is not acceptable. They have to prepare a consolidated balance sheet or as on 30th September 19 or any date after that date. Gap should not be more than 6 months. And whose year ending date should come before the other? Yes, because subsidiary has to be consolidated with parent. So first subsidiary's financial statement should be finalized. First, whose financial statement should be finalized? Subsidiary. Yes or no? Yes, sir. But sometimes there is a practical problem. You are given a balance sheet in the exam of this date. Parent balance sheet is given of this date. And then you will be given certain adjustments. Certain, like in single entry system problem, you will be given this balance sheet. You will be given sales made by subsidiary during 6 months, purchase made by subsidiary during 6 months, salary paid during 6 months. So what you will do? Imagine one more balance sheet you will prepare first. Whose balance sheet you will prepare first? Subsidiary's balance sheet on 31st March 2020 you will prepare by giving the effect of significant event and transaction given in the problem. Then you will say, sir, this will increase my workload. Yes, you are right. Yes, you are right. You have to prepare double balance sheet. First, separate balance sheet of subsidiary after giving the effect of sale, purchase, expense, income, depreciation during this 6 months period. Not only that, they may give you transaction between parent and subsidiary also during this 6 months period. They may give you loss by fire also during this 6 month period. Insurance claim received also. So all 20-30 adjustment of single entry system will first come. So they will test single entry system from you from this chapter. Then that revised balance sheet will be used for consolidation purpose. Okay. So that is what is written below, updation of account. If subsidiary's balance sheet date is different from parent, then you have to make adjustment in the subsidiary's balance sheet and P&L account based on adjustment given in the problem. Prepare a revised balance sheet and P&L account and use that revised balance sheet and P&L account for consolidation purpose. Only some hint I have given you. All asset and liability will be shown at the new book value now. If problem is silent, assume that profit is earned in cash. If problem is silent, on your own don't assume. If they have just given 6 lakh rupees profit was earned in the 6 months period, that's it. No other adjustment. So just increase the profit by 6 lakh, increase cash and bank balance by 6 lakh. That's it. Next month ka CFS. Again, every year this same process will repeat, na? Next year CFS will be based on last closing plus adjustment again. Is it right? So every year the same process will repeat. Don't worry. Now one more adjustment they are going to ask you. Preference share. Whose preference share? Subsidiary. Now subsidiary can issue two types of preference share: cumulative, non-cumulative. What is non-cumulative preference share? Have you heard non-cumulative? When did you hear? I have never told you. 12th standard. Acha, 12. Explain. Arrears of dividend will not be paid. What is cumulative preference share? On which arrears of dividend will be paid. It will keep on accumulating. And one day, when the company will have enough profit and cash, they will first clear the dues of preference shareholder, then they will pay equity dividend. Is it right? So one hidden adjustment they will ask you. Sometimes the subsidiary have outstanding cumulative preference share. Subsidiary has outstanding. This paragraph is applicable only if it is cumulative preference share. And if it is not cumulative preference share, forget this adjustment. Okay? If question is silent, assume preference shares are cumulative. Because that is how the Companies Act operate. Companies Act also says, unless otherwise specified, preference shares are cumulative preference share. Non-cumulative is specifically given in the problem. Okay? So what is the adjustment? The adjustment is that in case if the subsidiary has outstanding cumulative preference share which are held outside the group, means shares are held not by parent company. Shares are not held by parent company. Shares are held by minority interest or outsiders. Shares are held by others, outsiders. The parent company will compute its share of profit or losses. The parent company will compute its share of profit or losses after adjusting for the subsidiary's preference dividend. Underline, whether or not dividends have been declared. Already done for you. Whether or not dividends have been declared. Whether or not dividends have been declared means, suppose it is a hidden adjustment. Balance sheet of subsidiary includes 10% preference share capital 1 lakh. Question says dividend has not been paid, not declared. But still, for the purpose of consolidation, we will ourselves, on our own, pass the entry for preference dividend payable. Pass the entry for. The reason is that if you have issued cumulative preference share, the liability accrues with the passage of time. The liability, full statement, liability accrues with passage of time. Only payment is postponed. Only if you don't pay this year, you'll pay next year. So liability has accrued. Liability to pay the preference dividend has accrued. So why not to provide for that liability which has accrued? And hence, even though in separate financial statement you may not provide, but in the consolidated financial statement you will provide for arrears of preference dividend. Is it right? Thereafter compute the profit of subsidiary, and thereafter you apportion it between parent and minority. Okay? Explain. I'll explain on your behalf. If subsidiary has outstanding cumulative preference share held outside the group, the parent compute its share of profit or loss after deducting the preference dividend, whether dividend have been declared or not. Rattebaj. Okay. Intercompany investment. Now, one more adjustment. Subsidiary has issued preference share. Holding company has invested in those preference share. Or holding company has issued preference share. Subsidiary has invested in those preference shares. So this is like intercompany adjustment. One party has to pay, the other party has to receive. So what I'll do, I will cancel them. And if there is any difference, it will be adjusted in goodwill or capital reserve. For equity share and preference share, if there is a difference on cancellation, it is adjusted in goodwill or capital reserve. Okay. So if the holding company holds preference share in the subsidiary, the difference between the cost and the paid up value of share is treated as goodwill or capital reserve. Pre-acquisition dividend is credited to investment account. Pre-acquisition dividend is credited to investment account as usual. Accrued dividend from the date of acquisition to the date of consolidation is considered as revenue profit. So all rules of equity shares are applicable to preference share. Pre-acquisition dividend, cost of acquisition, post-acquisition dividend, revenue account. And if preference shares are held by outside shareholder in a subsidiary company, then for presentation purpose, it is added to minority interest. Now next is preference share held in subsidiary company. So I have given one format. How will you present the cancellation working note of preference share held in subsidiary company? So you will write cost of acquisition from the balance sheet, less dividend out of pre-acquisition profit, if any. If, write in bracket, if any, because that is not every time you will get it. That will give you net cost of acquisition A minus B, first two line difference. Then compare that with the face value of the preference share held. So I will give them two numbers A, B. Okay. Compare net cost of acquisition which I am going to cancel. Compare the face value of the share held which I am going to cancel. If the two figures are different, A and B, then it will give rise to goodwill or capital reserve. A greater than B, goodwill. B greater than A, capital reserve, and it will also be shown in the balance sheet along with goodwill of equity share, along with capital reserve of equity share. And if equity share has goodwill, preference share has capital reserve, we will do netting off. We'll do? Possible or not? Possible. On equity share we are getting goodwill, on preference share capital reserve. So what you do? Net off. Note, preference share issued by parent company will appear in CBS under share capital heading as usual. As usual. Now next is treatment of abnormal items. Treatment of? By looking at you, I don't mean you are abnormal item. It was just whether you are understanding or not. Okay. Abnormal item. Hello? Abnormal item. Now what is happening in this chapter, your institute is going to test you a lot. So that is why I have given so many adjustments. If I want, I can remove all of them, but I will not do. This is the year ending date. 1/4/19 to 31st March 2020. This is DOA 1/10/19. How it can be 2020? You said na 1990. Okay. 30th June 19. Loss due to fire. Loss due to fire 5,000. Okay. Profit on sale of fixed asset 10,000. So only two adjustments I will take. Loss due to fire in the pre-acquisition period 5,000, and profit on sale of fixed asset in post-acquisition period 10,000. Hello, understanding or enjoying the easy? Enjoy. Both. Profit for the year is suppose 1 lakh. Profit for there is 1 lakh. So you have to find out how much is pre-acquisition profit and how much is post-acquisition profit. My profit for the year after both the adjustment. Profit for the year, that means is a final figure which contains the loss due to fire also and which contains profit on sale of fixed asset also. After these two adjustment, my profit is 1 lakh. So my question to this batch of highly talented student is, how much will you write in pre-column? How much will you write in post-column? 55,000 in pre and 40,000 in post. Total is not 1 lakh. If you give any answer, the total should be how much? 1 lakh. Total should be 1 lakh. So just give me two numbers. Give me two numbers which will make the total 1 lakh. Try. I had given yesterday the hint. 61 250. Which one? Pre. 61 250. No, it seems it is not right. 42,500 and 57,500. Is it right? Explain. How did you reach that magic number? 1 lakh minus 15,000. Why minus 15,000? 15,000 from where did you reach? But that is loss. This is gain. What will not consider? How you don't consider? I agree. But that is loss. This is gain. So you can't get 15,000 in this process. You also took same 15. Different one. You explain.
प्रॉफिट का 1 लाख का प्रॉफिट था, उसमें से 10,000 पहले लेस किया, उसको पोस्ट पीरियड में डाला एंड जो 5,000 का लॉस था उसको ऐड बैक किया एंड वो जो लॉस था वो सिर्फ प्री में दिखाया एंड जो 95,000 था उसको डिवाइड बाय 2 करके इक्वली डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर दिया.
Understood? Not understood. Let me start. So first what I'll do, first I will write revised profit or write normal profit. That is a better word. First I will find normal profit for the year. Normal operating profit for the year. Normal operating profit for the year by removing the effect of these two transactions. Okay. So my profit for the entire year is 1 lakh. This 1 lakh. It is after providing for this loss of 5,000. So I will add back. I will add back 5,000. If the loss would not have happened due to fire, current year profit will be 1,05,000. And I will reduce 10,000. If this fixed asset would not have been sold, my profit would be lower by 10,000. So my normal profit is 90. So remove the effect of these two transactions. This way. Not take 15,000 and then remove. If you have debited any item in P&L account which is abnormal, add back. If you have credited any item to P&L account which is abnormal, less. Debit, add back. Credit, less. Simple. This you apportion in the ratio of time 6:6. If these two transactions would not have happened, your profit will be 95,000 and then 95,000 in the time ratio. How much? This is what you had said, 47,500? 47,500. But this period has a loss. So that 5,000 loss due to fire, loss due to fire will be adjusted in pre-column, and that gain due to gain on sale of fixed asset, so that will go to respective column. So specific gain or loss will be recognized in that year, and normal profit will be a portion on time basis. Similar to that profit prior to incorporation chapter. Is it right? But this chapter will test your intelligence more than that chapter. So your pre-acquisition profit will be 42,500. Then your post-acquisition profit will be 57,500. Have you understood now? Now you read that paragraph, you'll understand. Abnormal items include profit or loss on sale of fixed asset or investment, loss due to fire. While preparing the analysis of profit working note, this is analysis of profit working note, effect of abnormal items should be eliminated as follows. In case of abnormal loss, add in the period to which it relates. Abnormal gain, deduct it from the period to which it relates. Then find the normal profit. Apportion normal profit on time basis. Reinstate the effect of abnormal item to the period to which they relate. Abnormal loss, deduct in the period to which it relates. Abnormal gain, add it to the period to which it relates. Yes or no? That is what is written. One more problem today we will solve. Bonus share issued by subsidiary. Who has issued bonus share? What is the side effect? Holding company will also receive bonus share. Minority will also receive bonus share. Am I right? If subsidiary is going to issue bonus share, so holding and minority both are going to receive. So it will change the number of share held by holding and minority. Change the number. But will the composition or percentage of holding change, or will it remain the same? Percentage holding will remain the same. Cost of acquisition will remain the same. Goodwill or capital reserve will remain the same or change? I said number of share will increase, percentage holding will remain same. Then what did I say? Cost of acquisition will remain same. My question was whether goodwill or capital reserve will remain same or will change. Same. We are going to demonstrate with the help of one example also. The holding company benefit as a shareholder by receiving the bonus share. Case 1. Bonus share is received out of pre-acquisition profit. Bonus share is received out of pre-acquisition. That means subsidiary company have used its pre-acquisition profit to issue the bonus share. So bonus share issued out of capital profit. Capital profit means pre-acquisition profit. In an increase in the paid up value of share is an increase in the paid up value of share and decrease in the pre-acquisition profit. So somewhere in the chapter on bonus share you have learned the accounting entry for bonus share. If not, I will revise. Reserve account debit to share capital. Do you remember such thing existed in your syllabus? And this reserve is pre-acquisition reserve. So what they have written? Paid up capital will increase and reserve will decrease. But the total will remain the same. From one pocket you move to another pocket. Will you become rich man? No. Same thing. Increase in paid up value exactly offset the reduction in capital profit. Okay. So thus there is no effect on goodwill or capital reserve. But because this is a statement, you may not agree with me. So what I did? Example. Next question for 4 marks. On 31st March 2016, P Limited acquired 1,05,000, 70% share of Q Limited for rupees 12 lakh. Will this 12 lakh change because of bonus issue? On balance sheet date, the balance sheet of Q Limited on that date was, in your book, 1,50,000 equity share of rupees 10 each fully paid, 15 lakh. Reserve pre-acquisition 10 lakh. Fixed asset 25 lakh. Q Limited made bonus in the ratio of 1:2. That is 75,000 bonus share. Calculate goodwill or capital reserve and minority interest before issue of bonus share and after issue of bonus share. क्या किया जाए? What should be done? Homework or class work? Class work. How many shares were purchased by P Limited? 1,05,000. How many bonus share they are going to receive? 75,000 na lakh. Entire 75,000 holding will not receive. They will receive their share. 52? Seems to be right. Seems to be. So first you prepare this WN. Shareholding pattern would be like this. After the bonus share, how that shareholding pattern would change, understand. It won't change, only numbers will change. Percentage will remain same. Percentage will remain same because many students have in the past said no, percentage will also change. Just to convince those people, we have prepared this working note. Okay. So total number of share of Q, write down before bonus issue. First column 1,50,000. Add bonus share 75,000. Total in the outer column 2,25,000. P Limited before bonus issue 1,05,000. Add bonus share 52,500. Total in the same column. In the outer column percentage same 70%. 157,500 divided by 2,25,000 now. 157,500 divided by 2,25,000 now. Minority interest before bonus issue 45,000. Add bonus share 22,500. Total in the same column 67,500. Total in the outer column 30%. You can see that the percentages have not changed. Have the percentages changed? Say no. Okay. Now let us see calculation of goodwill. So one thing I have proved, percentage will not change. Cost of acquisition will not change, that you know already. Because no cost is paid for bonus share. Yes or no? Working note number next, goodwill or capital reserve. Will you do yourself or should I do it? Together. Wow, what an answer. From that 2 you reduce 1, okay? Only gather and do it. Why you include me in that? Dada solve. Sorry, Tauji. Tauji solve. So write down cost of acquisition. It will not change. So write 12 lakh in both column. 12 lakh. Less share in net asset of subsidiary as on the date of acquisition. Share in net asset of subsidiary as on the date of acquisition. Under that, share in share capital. Wait. What was your share capital earlier? Subsidiary share capital was 15 lakh and your share was 70%. So take 70% of 15 lakh. 10,50,000. What is the share capital after that entry? 22,50,000. 22,50,000. 15 lakh plus 7,50,000. 22,50,000 into 70%. 15,75,000. Then pre-acquisition profit. what is the pre-acquisition profit in the balance sheet? 10 lakh into 70%. Into 10 lakh into 70%. But after the bonus issue, you have transferred 7,50,000 to share capital. You have transferred 7,50,000 to share capital. So now the reserve remaining out of pre-acquisition is only 2,50,000. 2,50,000 into 30% is equal to 75,000. No, 70% is 1,75,000. That's right. 70% is 1,75,000. Right? 1,75,000. Did you get it? 70% of 2,50,000. Now on your own calculate the goodwill in first column. Is it 5,50,000? Yes, wonderful. Second column. Is second column also 5,50,000? Second column also 5,50,000. Say yes or no? Goodwill or capital reserve? Capital reserve. Capital reserve. Tick tick capital reserve. Tick tick capital reserve. Hello. Tick tick capital reserve. Now see, this is 12 lakh. This is somewhere here you've written 17,50,000. Now it is just you are shifting money from one pocket to another pocket. Earlier it was 10,50,000 plus 7 lakh. Now it is 15,75,000 and 1,75,000. So increase in share capital and decrease in the reserve are exactly equal. Understood? Increase in share capital and decrease in reserve is exactly equal. So when increase in share capital and decrease in pre-acquisition reserve will be exactly equal amount, total will remain. If the total of share in net asset remains the same, the goodwill will remain the same or capital reserve will remain the same. Are you following? See, once again, earlier the share capital was 15 lakh and reserve was 10 lakh. So this is 25 lakh. And your share was 70%. So 17,50,000. Now share capital has become 22.5 lakh. And this pre-acquisition profit has become 2.5 lakh. Again 25 lakh. Again 70%. So again the answer will be same. 17.5 lakh. So increase in share capital and deduction in pre-acquisition reserve, the two are same. When the two are same, answer will also be same. Is it right? So why I spend so much time on this? Because in some books they have shown this presentation for goodwill calculation in case of bonus share. In some books, they have shown this presentation for goodwill or capital reserve. Do not worry. Do not. Why? Finally, the bottom line is same. Is it right? So therefore, according to your convenience, either you follow this first column format in bonus share case out of pre-acquisition or second column format. Both will give you the same answer. Both will give you the same answer because different authors in different books have followed either first format or second format. But because you are only shifting the amount from one account to another account within the same place, the total will remain the same. Okay. Now the last part of this wonderful chapter, wonderful question, minority interest. Let us check whether that will also change or that will remain same. Let us try. Point number 8, share in share capital. 4,50,000 in the first column and 6,75,000 in the second column. Sir, why 6,75,000? 30% of 22,50,000. I have given some space for writing calculation. Do you know why that space is kept blank? Pre-planning. So that you can write one day 30% of 15 lakh in first column and 30% of 22,50,000 in the second column. And then share in pre-acquisition profit. Originally the pre-acquisition profit was 10 lakh into 30%. 3 lakh. And now it is 2,50,000. 75,000. Total. 7,50,000. 7,50,000. Again, you can choose any of the two columns in your presentation in the answer. In case of bonus share issued out of pre-acquisition profit, shareholding percentage remains same, goodwill or capital reserve remains the same, minority interest remains the same, and cost of acquisition remains the same. Only numbers will change. But that doesn't affect my answer. We don't write number in balance sheet. We write rupees in balance sheet. So all rupee based figure will remain the same. Now we will solve. Yes, tomorrow. Same sentence. Okay. So tomorrow we'll take all bigger problems now, which might take 1 hour, 2 hours. Any query? Haji, you seem to be little doubtful stage. Yes or no? बोलो बोलो समझ गया मेरे को नैम